Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Apex News Above the Noise. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Craig, it has been about a week since we were on here. It seems like a bunch of stuff has happened in that time. How you been? Things good?
Yeah, things going good. Knees better. Walking around without no crutches, and just too much. All kinds of cool stuff going on. Perfect weather. Restaurants going great. Had almost record week last week, so everything's good.
That's good. That's good. We've got a loaded show tonight. The U.S. and Iran have reached a peace agreement to end their war. We'll break down what's actually in it and what will happen Friday. California Governor Gavin Newsom is making a major claim about the Department of Justice and his own family. The White House lawn turned into a UFC Octagon for President Trump's 80th birthday last night with numbers we're still trying to wrap our heads around. The New York Knicks are NBA champs for the first time in 53 years, but the celebration in the city looked a little dark, if you will. And we'll close with hometown news. The University of Kentucky has a new athletic director with 15 days to spare, and we've got the full story. As always, we'll give you the facts, where they come from, and then Craig and I will weigh in. So let's get above the noise and get it started. Big international story to open the show tonight. The United States and Iran have reached a peace agreement to end their nearly 4-month conflict, and it's set to be formally signed this Friday, June 19th, in Switzerland. That signing location and date were confirmed by Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who you've been following on Twitter and Facebook, I think, who was the first to announce the deal and to say the deal had been reached, according to CNBC. President Trump announced the deal on Truth Social, saying, quote, "The deal with Iran is now complete." He also ordered the U.S. Naval blockade lifted and authorized the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That's the choke point that's been at the center of global oil supply concerns for months. NBC News reports Trump wrote that, quote, "Ships of the world can start their engines once the strait reopens upon signing." Craig, Trump has also taken some heat and giving some praise. CNN reports he took a notable swipe at Netanyahu, saying Israel should be grateful for the diplomacy, while praising Xi Jinping and Putin for their roles in pushing the deal forward. What do you make of this dynamic, Craig, and what it says about where Israel stands in all this? You and I talked over the weekend about the fact that everything is tenuous, especially considering that Israel is involved, and Lebanon was part of the deal. And where do you think we stand right now with all this?
Well, Israel is not going to agree, from what Netanyahu said and other Israeli administration officials I follow. They're not going to agree to be defenseless when Hezbollah launches rockets and missiles and unguided missiles into their territory. One Israeli official said, "We're not even going to leave the territory until they're done." Israel is trying to work with the Lebanese government to take out Hezbollah. Iran wants to keep Hezbollah there for some stupid reason. I mean, I know what the reason is to wipe Israel off the face of the earth.
That's what they've always said.
That could derail the whole deal. Now, what that video you sent me earlier today that was kind of funny was Israel was getting ready.
Kind of scary.
Israel was getting ready to bomb some Iran negotiators and some Pakistani negotiators in the buildings. And so Trump gets on the phone and says, cancel the deal, throw some cuss words in there. It was a pretty tense discussion from everything I read on the overseas newspapers. I don't trust our papers.
Knock it the F off, I think.
Yes. And so it's still shaky ground. If Hezbollah, from today to Friday, if Hezbollah launches rockets or Hamas launches rockets into Israel, that part of the deal will be done. Now, whether Iran sticks to it, and we know Iran won't stick to it to begin with, but this is a true treaty and a true nuclear treaty, where before it was just kind of an agreement when they signed it in 2015. And people remember they had a 10-year grace window to where after that 10 years, Iran could go nuclear with the administration's blessing.
With our $250 billion we gave them?
Yeah, with the money, the pallets of money, billions that we sent over there. But Iran would have had our blessing to build a nuclear weapon after that 10-year deal. People don't remember that.
Well, they don't, and I think one of the interesting thing about this is that the video that I sent you earlier, came from Pakistani intelligence,
Yeah.
essentially saying that they found out that Israel was about to assassinate, whether it was through missiles or
Down that
whatever.
old building, yeah.
Yeah, where the Iranian negotiators were staying and or at that very moment. Trump called and told them, knock it off, don't do that. And then just minutes later, missiles hit where the Pakistani delegation was staying, within a few feet, apparently.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of frustrations that people have with not necessarily the administration, but the entire scenario is that we go through this entire primary season, and we're going through the election season, and people are talking about AIPAC. They're talking about Israel's their influence on our government, and people are have very strong opinions about it. And then you have people like Ted Cruz, and you have people like Marco Rubio who say we act independently. We don't worry about them. We're going to protect them, but they're our
Yeah.
biggest ally in the area. But we can't trust them. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. If they don't enter the peace agreement themselves and with their own primary folks, they're not going to abide by it, and they don't feel
About
like
Israel or Hezbollah?
Israel.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You've been living for the last 47 years with threats of annihilation.
I don't disagree.
Not death to the leaders, annihilation of your entire country. Now you've got the most advanced military, most advanced Air Force and maybe military, second only to ours, and they're using our most advanced equipment. Why, if we were in the same boat, would we want the world telling us to back off while we're getting hit from Hamas, we're getting hit from Hezbollah, so we're getting hit from Palestine, Jordan, Syria till Syria was wiped out, and Iraq and Iran and Yemen? If we got all these countries attacking us, what would the citizenry of the United States say? Oh, let's be nice to them. They don't know what they're doing.
No,
or blow the hell out of them.
I don't disagree, but at the same time, if Israel has asked us to come to the table as the individuals who are helping protect them, and then we go into the peace negotiations, and you continue to lob missiles,
they screwed up.
You call them defensive strikes.
Yeah,
I mean, anything could be a defensive strike.
If once the deal's signed, so I'm pretty sure Israel is not going to be the offensive side of the war for at least the next 5 days.
Should not. No.
But let's say once the deal's signed and in 6 weeks, Hezbollah shoots 100 rockets at Israel. Is Israel supposed to say, well, we signed this deal, so we can't attack you? Or are we going to defend ourselves?
I do not disagree with that.
Yeah.
What I think people on the ground here, your typical average American, that we're trying to avoid global economic crisis, and they see President Trump and Marco Rubio and others saying, hey, we're negotiating, we're at the negotiating table, and at the same time, those who are astute are also seeing Israel not abiding by that, and then this whole thing about Israel potentially assassinating the Iranian delegates that that were doing this. You can't have that either.
Right. But let's ask this question. Did the U.S. tell Israel, hey, we're on the precipice of signing this deal, let's back off for a while? I haven't seen that in the press anywhere.
But one would think that that's why something didn't happen to these guys. But again, who's to say? I mean, it's an interesting.
But I'll say once the deal's signed, Israel won't be the one breaking it.
Let's hope not. According to Atlantic Council's analysis, this stems from a 14-point memorandum of understanding. It's being described as a framework, of course, until it's signed, meaning it locks in the ceasefires already in place between Iran, Israel, and Hezbollah in Lebanon. But a lot of the thorniest issues, Iran's nuclear program, sanctions relief, the long-term mechanics of the strait, those get pushed to a second phase of negotiations. And let's be clear about this. This does not necessarily end the nuclear threat of Iran. Essentially, we
Yeah.
are saying we're not going to lob any more rockets at each other. Then we're going to go to the negotiating table and figure out everything else. International reaction has been notable. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer could care less what he thinks, called it a hugely important step forward and said the UK stands ready to help with
What an
line
idiot.
efforts in the Strait, according to CNN.
And
Again, it was
Macron said the same thing. He's ready to jump in now.
yeah. Oh, you're always there to help out at the end when you didn't want to risk anything.
Yeah, I said we'll send an aircraft carrier and some battleships in there to help keep it clear. Yes, sure.
I think Keir Starmer and Macron have bigger problems at home, but we'll see. Again, it was Pakistan's prime minister who first announced on social media that the deal had been reached. On Capitol Hill, reaction has been cautious from both sides. The Hill reports Senator Lindsey Graham, usually a hawk on Iran, said he hopes it's a real diplomatic solution, but wants it presented to Congress for review. Good luck, Lindsey. Don't necessarily.
Well, it'll have to be, won't it? Because it's a treaty.
That's correct.
This isn't.
You're not going to get to negotiate any of these terms. It's just this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, this is a for real treaty.
Yeah,
like World War II ended. This isn't a
one with Iran
and understanding like what Obama did.
Yeah.
This isn't an understanding. Said, "Oh, we hope you do." This is a legit treaty.
Yeah.
Now, the 14 points that you mentioned, Trump has posted on Truth Social. Don't believe anything the media says about this. About Iran getting $300 billion from us to rebuild their country.
Right.
And we're to immediately release $12 billion. And it's Iranian money, on the world.
Frozen.
It's their money. We've got it frozen in the international banking system. But
like Cuba has some assets frozen.
Right. Yeah. And so it's not that we're going to do it by what Iran is putting out there or what the Atlantic Council or Trump said nobody knows but us, Iran, and Pakistan.
Right.
And Iran, the RGC is the one putting it out. You're not hearing it come from their president or their Ayatollah, Khamenei. You're not hearing it come from them. It's coming from the RGC. So Trump's saying just wait till we release the facts after we sign it in Switzerland. And what could be kind of a non-normal thing too, Trump could go from France to Switzerland and sign it himself. Like Obama in the 2015 agreement, Obama didn't sign anything.
Right.
He let his intermediaries do it.
He did say, and he is in France right now, and apparently he's there potentially to go to Switzerland, but
potentially, yeah.
It's just
the G7.
Yeah.
He's at the G7, who none of them offered to help. So he's there saying the war's over. And France, Macron this morning, and our time, probably afternoon, their time, same thing with Starmer, said they'd be willing to send an aircraft carrier and other battleships. And England said minesweepers to clear the strait. But there's ships flowing now on the southern route, the one that our military's guarding.
Right.
So there's some movement, but we're still 2 or 3 months away of getting back to normal once stockpiles get built up around the planet.
Yeah, Democrats like Senator Jack Reed have also raised concerns. My question is bipartisan caution here a healthy sign, or does it suggest nobody actually knows what's in this deal yet?
I'd say that both. They don't know what's in the deal, and they should have caution. Because we've heard so many times that a deal is close, and then something happens. And Iran is notorious. They've never honored any agreement they signed with us since 1981 or 80, whenever it was, after the hostage crisis. They've never honored anything. So why would they change now?
The Atlantic Council's experts are already pointing out this only, locks in a ceasefire. The hard part, nuclear concessions and sanctions relief, is still ahead. Given how many times we've heard peace is close over the last year, even in the last few weeks, how much stock should we put into Friday's signing actually holding? And even if it does happen, what do you think we should be prepared for in the near future?
But it'll hold on our side. I'll say that. On America's side, it will hold, and I think Israel will hold also. But if Hamas or Hezbollah or the Houthis start launching rockets from, Houthis from Yemen, if they start launching rockets into Israel, all bets are off.
Yeah.
But and I don't know, and maybe the IRGC, some rogue commander, will launch some ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, at Israel too. We don't know, but I don't think we'll break it.
I will say that at the close of today, that the West Texas crude is at 81.14. It was teetering at about $80 last night when things opened. I think the Brent crude, which is the other big player here, is at 83.50. That obviously is good news. You and I were looking at 110s, close to $120 a few weeks ago when we were talking about this. That's a 30% drop in just a month. So,
and we've seen gasoline prices here drop exactly $1 per gallon over 2 weeks.
Yeah. I just went to the gas station. It was $3.46 today. So I mean,
so it's $1.03 now.
Yeah. So I mean, it's changing. It's taken a little bit of time, but it is changing. And we will keep an eye on Friday's signing.
Just say it like this. Look at it like this economically. $20 a week times 52 weeks. That's $1,040 more in your pocket over a 12-month period.
Well, and one of the things you have to take into consideration is that Democrats, sure, they say they want us to in the conflict and do all these things. They don't want to hand a W to Trump and
no, not right now. Nope.
And so there has to be some cautiousness there as well when you're talking about them saying that they want to be involved and they want to do this, they want to do that. Like, how much are you just trying to throw a wrench into the cogs of what may be a very good thing for America right now? And I think that's
national Democrats do not want a victory for Trump. No, they'll shoot it down. They're already talking about what's in the agreement, except they don't know what's in the agreement.
None.
They're just saying we're going to rebuild Iran. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. They have no clue, but they got to get it out. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw an X post today where one of the Democrats was claiming that I can't remember who it was, that Trump was already preparing to build a Trump Tower in
it's so stupid. It is so stupid to see that, and I mean
it's wild.
It's not going to be us or Israel that's going to break the deal once it's signed.
I don't think so either. But if it is Israel, I'm going to be here on that next day.
Yeah, blasting.
I'm mad about it. So
yeah, and it's going to be an epic thing, and I believe with Trump's focus on history, that he'll be the one signing the agreement instead of one of his intermediaries.
Very, very, very possible. We'll keep an eye on Friday's signing and bring you any developments. Let's stay in Washington for a minute, but shift from foreign policy to a domestic political story that broke just this morning. California Governor Gavin Newsom dropped a bombshell claim today. He says President Trump directed the Department of Justice to investigate him and his wife, Jennifer Seibel Newsom. I don't know if it's Seibel.
Do you believe that? Trump did it while he's doing all this other crap? He's got time to say.
Like, got plenty of time.
Shit.
But even if he did, the absolute narcissism and hypocrisy and ignorance of what has happened over the last 10 years to say, I can't believe they would come after me. It's lawfare. My God, you got to
really.
They say that according to a video Newsom posted to X, also reported by NBC News and CNBC, he's making these claims. In that video, Newsom said federal agents have been knocking on the doors of his family, friends, and former employees, demanding records. His quote was that the investigators, quote, have not found a crime. They are simply trying to find one. Who else said that recently? I think Eric Swalwell said that.
Yeah. Right? And so let me say this. Have they done it at 6:00 in the morning?
Right.
Fully geared up SWAT with CNN towed along.
Who they called and said, hey, fly your drone above here to get the best.
Well, hell, they had reporters on the ground when they were breaking into the people around Trump, and CNN just happens to be there. They happen to be the only network on the planet that got the go-ahead or got the tip to be at that house when they kicked the door in at 6 o'clock in the morning on Rudy Giuliani and others.
If you're it's not funny. I don't like lawfare. I've had issues with
Well, they don't know it's true either.
right. The problem is that Newsom then drew a hard line. He said, "Come after me, but leave my wife and family out of it."
A joke.
Yeah. Even if you're skeptical of Newsom politically, does targeting a spouse change the optics of a story like this? I think if it had not been done to General Flynn and his family, if it hadn't been done to President Trump and his family, if it hadn't been done to a number of individuals, Carter Page, who essentially had his life ruined.
Yeah.
I've been watching a ton of John Kiriakou now. He's a former CIA agent.
You sent me some stuff on him. Yeah.
Went to prison for 30 months because
they
he did
completely made up the stuff
because he was a whistleblower with regard to waterboarding. I think we all will agree that's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that Newsom is now, and we've seen this a lot over the last couple of years, that right before something big, Comey did this, a couple other people did this, they run to the news and they say, "I am being persecuted, not prosecuted."
What comes next? What comes next?
What is that next thing is going to drop? Now, Newsom has his hands full right now because
they're going to drop a book.
Well, yeah, that's in September or October.
Yeah.
Shears comes out in September, right? But the reality here is that Newsom is going to have some investigations occur, whether it's the U.S. Department of Justice, whether it's the U.S. Attorney's Office, who will work in context with them, whether it's law enforcement up there. They're going to be under investigation because of these elections. I mean, that's a given.
The elections plus the fraud. Remember, they got the fraud in Minnesota, but they said the fraud in California dwarfs everything that Minnesota does, and they're just digging into Minnesota. Plus, until they start breaking into his house at 6 a.m. and they go ruffling through his wife's underwear drawer and his son's closet, if Newsom's got a son. But here's the thing. Remember who Gavin Newsom was married to when he was mayor of San Francisco? Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yep.
Who did she date? Don Trump Jr.
Yeah.
So she's with Trump Jr. for 3 years. And everybody knew Newsom was going to run. This is politics now. Everybody knew Newsom was going to run for president. You don't think Trump was mining her for information on Newsom when he was the mayor of San Francisco and beyond? You don't think she didn't tell Trump everything she knows about Gavin Newsom? I guarantee you she did.
Well, that's probably a given. The question whether you can, actually do anything about it. It's funny you mentioned that the fraud in California dwarfs Minnesota. Do you know what Gavin Newsom's wife does?
Yeah, she's over one of those things.
It's a nonprofit aimed at closing the gender pay gap, increasing women's representation on corporate boards, and keeping technology safe for children.
And she gets one of the biggest amounts of state California tax dollars of any of their nonprofits. Wonder how that happens.
Yeah.
You know how that happens? When you're married to the governor, how does that happen?
It seems like a conflict of interest, doesn't it?
I would think it would be.
I think he may be right. They may be going after his wife because she may be involved in these same things.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Newsom says that this motivation is political, that Trump is targeting him specifically because he's considering a 2028 presidential run. Not really sure why, because
Trump ain't running against him.
Quit trying to run against Trump. He's gone.
I don't believe for a second, with all the crap going on across the planet,
not in the last week,
that Trump's involved. Last month, that Trump's involved in, that he called somebody Justice Department and said, "Go get him." I don't believe that for a second.
Per Mediaite and NBC News, he compared his situation to other Trump critics who faced DOJ scrutiny, naming former FBI Director James Comey. I don't really necessarily think that's somebody you need to, align yourself with and get sympathy for. Former Fed Chair Jerome Powell and New York Attorney General Letitia James. Again,
Jerome Powell built the most expensive building in the history of the United States.
Yeah.
The Fed building's over $3 billion. What the hell kind of? I'm not sure the Pentagon cost that much.
Not at the
$3
time.
billion for the Fed. I don't even understand that at all.
If there's one thing I do agree with Ron Paul and the far right maybe I should say far right libertarian aspects, audit the Fed. What are we doing?
Right.
Can
Yeah,
you
100%.
can you imagine
And then Letitia James campaigns, not while she's in office. She is campaigning for office, saying, I'm going to get Trump. Now, she doesn't know if he's done anything wrong because she ain't holding office.
Doesn't matter. She just
And the guys that investigated Trump, they said there's nothing there. And then she trumps up those charges. Trumps up, get it? Trumps up.
Yep,
She trumps up those misdemeanors where he signed some business documents, the same ones Ilhan Omar signed, and they convicted him on 32, 36 felony paper counts.
Yeah.
Now, there's difference in felonies, Kyle, right? From you beat the snot out of somebody or shoot them versus a paper felony.
Yeah, I mean, you're white collar crime. Now, white collar crime.
There you go, white collar crime.
And they should, those people should be punished. But paper crimes that you can't say what the first act was that led you to the charge. It's a mess.
They have still not said that.
I still think there's a distinct possibility that the New York Court of Appeals may overturn that, as well as the other civil cases that are out.
If you don't think the Department of Justice wasn't sicked on Trump, then you've got TDS bad.
Yeah. Important context here. As of this morning, actually, as of going on the show, the nature of the alleged investigation is still unclear. The Associated Press reports the DOJ did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and they ain't gonna. And White House
investigation.
Yeah. And White House, you know what that's like. You've been around law enforcement long enough. And White House representatives referred questions to the Justice Department. So right now, this is Newsom's characterization. We don't have any independent confirmation of what's actually being investigated. This isn't the first time we've covered claims of the DOJ being used against political opponents on both sides, namely the other side. And they use that lawfare weaponization. How do we, as a show, that without details on what's actually being investigated, how do we evaluate that? And I think that's the problem, is that right now it's just Gavin's words at this point, and it asking for pity.
Well, you can't evaluate because you don't have enough information.
Right.
Now you can go headline hopping and base everything off of a headline, but there's no information out there to say it. There's no corroboration from the Justice Department, and there won't be. There's no video of them going to his friends' houses. Yet. Where have the friends? I don't know this. I'm asking you. Have the friends come forward and said, "Hey, DOJ, the FBI, pounded on our door and said, hey, we want to know about this aspect of Gavin Newsom. Can you tell us about it?" Is there anybody out there that's come forward?
I haven't seen anybody.
Me neither.
I'm trying to think of what the Jeff Greenbaum, right? Jeff Greenbaum. Yeah. He's the reporter
for
that
CNN.
Was at CNN. Had his entire life turned upside down because they said he was passing stuff through his family. They interviewed his elderly parents and just deplorable things that were done.
And don't forget Gold Bar Bob Menendez, who the Democrat Party swore up and down he was getting chased down by the Justice Department for no legitimate reason. And then they figure out that it's legitimate as hell and find all them gold bars and cash and hundreds of thousands in cash and not tons, but 30 or 40 gold bars and cars and homes that other countries had paid him to lobby America for under the table.
Yeah, and I think we just saw, where they found a former FBI agent that had, was it CIA or FBI, had $4 million of that. I mean,
yeah, he had, yeah. I mean, that was CIA. That was a CIA agent.
Right. So, you have all sorts of situations like that where people, can legitimately say that that they have essentially been investigated wrongly just because of whatever their political leanings are and things like that. But at the same time, we don't have any of that information right here. It's just his words
Right.
against it.
It's
And who's
just
to say that they're not doing something wrong?
and then if it turns out this is not true or it's legitimate, either way, it won't be headlines. It'll be buried on page 86 of the New York Times, and nobody will report on it then when it's legitimate.
Yeah. Timing is everything in politics. Newsom going public with this right at 2028 buzz time, and as is building, it's probably Newsom getting ahead of a story, or it may be a calculated political move to get a little bit of sympathy, and maybe it's both. Both can be true at once.
And it could be uh, they're investigating and there's nothing there.
Right.
That could be happening.
Absolutely.
That could be happening. That happens a lot. What's it called? No true bill?
Yeah, no
Something
true
like
bill.
if it even gets to that.
If
Yeah.
the indictment comes back, if the jury comes back with no true bill. Let's pivot away from politics at this point, because last night, Craig, last night was something else. Washington hosted one of the strangest and wildest and most fun spectacles we've seen in a long time, and it happened right on the White House lawn. This next one is wild by any standard, even for us. Last night, the White House South Lawn hosted UFC Freedom 250, a full mixed martial arts fight card, cage and all, right outside the Oval Office. In fact, the guys walked out of the White House. It was
walked out of the Oval Office.
Yeah, it was a show. NBC News and The Hollywood Reporter were both on the ground for it. The event doubled as a celebration of President Trump's 80th birthday, which was yesterday, and the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. More than 4,000 people were seated in a massive structure they're calling the Claw that included cabinet officials. I saw Jim Jordan out there, Mark Zuckerberg, big VIPs like the Meta CEO Zuckerberg, and Paramount's David Ellison. I don't know if you saw the Ellisons over there.
Yeah.
In NBC News. Heavy corporate branding was front and center. Variety reports Bud Light, Monster Energy, Starlink, and several other sponsors, including
Buffalo Trace.
Yeah. They were all over it last night. Frankfurt's own Buffalo Trace. They had logos on the Octagon, at the White House, outside, with ringside sponsorship packages reportedly going for $1 million to $1.5 million.
Yeah. Now I checked that. There was posts that said people paid $1.5 million for their seats, and there was 1,000 of them out there, so it was $1.5 billion. And they wonder where the money went. Yeah. So I looked that up last night while after the fact. It was around 240, when it's still up $360 million. Yeah. But most of the money went back to Paramount, that produced it, and to the UFC. Trump did not get a penny of it.
It has to be noted that Paramount and UFC were the only ones who put money up for the production, for the entire show. The federal government, nobody put, the Trumps, the White House, nobody put any.
Right. This was totally sponsor driven.
Yeah, absolutely. Per Yahoo Sports, UFC CEO Dana Weiss says when you add in the fan festival across the street at the Ellipse, which was, you could see
all the people in it, yeah,
which USA Today reported held around 85 to 115,000 people. More were watching on big screens. The 2-day total in attendance estimates comes out to roughly 200,000 people. But people are saying online and otherwise, and they're showing overhead photos of it, that doesn't even begin to touch the number of people who were.
And this won't be one of those where Trump's saying those numbers.
No,
this is the actual companies that are saying these numbers. So it ain't something like they can say, well, Trump said 1 million people's here, and it was really they say it was like 12,000. These are legitimate company estimates off of tickets sold and counting the people when they come in to the Ellipse.
I will. I want to say here that Alvy, one of our.
Well, I was going to touch on that after we got done with this.
We'll touch on this in a second and what may happen, but we'll go from there in a second. But as for viewership, Dana White told ESPN the numbers on Paramount Plus were, quote, monstrous, but he didn't give specifics. You won't know that. The event aired live. You won't know for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The event aired live on the streaming platform as part of that $1 billion plus UFC Paramount deal that went through just a few months ago. Also, per Yahoo Sports, we'll be watching for official numbers as they trickle out over the next few days. They're going to want to get those numbers out. They're going to show how big this was.
Let's discuss the numbers a little bit.
Go ahead.
Paramount Plus has 79.6 million subscribers. One of the largest ones, not as much as Netflix or HBO, but they're in the top 3 or 4. Now, look at the fight card. They've got American fighters, and they've got fighters from across the planet.
Yep.
Brazil's monstrous. They had a couple of Brazilian fighters. The numbers that come out, I don't know. They won't be Super Bowl numbers, obviously, but they might be in the 20 million range of watching this spectacle.
It will likely be the largest UFC numbers that you've ever seen. And for people who aren't UFC followers, I had a bunch of people who are not regular UFC watchers who were watching it last night, including my wife, Jen, who, she could make it till about 11 o'clock. So we had 2 or 3 fights that she missed. But the spectacle of it all, I mean, it was, for those of you who didn't watch it,
that's the picture of the night.
You can, this was amazing. Zach Brown from Zach Brown Band was singing the national anthem.
And he's catching flack for that. I know he's a singer.
Yeah.
Zach Brown Band, but he's catching flack for singing the national anthem.
He did a fantastic job. And then if you can't get excited about watching the Blue Angels, flying over.
And that's all of them. That's
White House. I mean, it was, there were goosebumps on goosebumps last night.
It was spectacular when they flew over.
Listen, if you don't like UFC, if you don't like the spectacle, if you don't like all that, fine. Then don't watch it. But if you're just watching that and you didn't get the chills, then you maybe don't have the Patriot fever. I don't.
You might not even be American.
You may not be. You may not be.
I told you the producer of this show, whoever was the director, producer, they deserve an Academy Award the way this was done.
They deserve it. I doubt they'll get it because of who
great. The military band and the military singer.
Army band and the singers.
Army band, they were just outstanding.
Even Joe Rogan was saying, I don't know who this singer is, but she's been fantastic all night.
There was 2 or 3 singers that were just great.
Yeah.
Because each of the fighters got their own walkout song. Yeah. And it was pretty darn cool.
Reaction is split predictably along partisan lines. No shock there, Craig.
None.
Some outlets call it historic and patriotic. Others, like Variety, call it tone deaf, especially given it landed the same day as the Iran peace announcement. I actually think that level of showmanship was all Trump. I'm going to announce this, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. To you, does an event like this help or hurt the administration's broader messaging this week?
Well, I saw one news analysis, so I'll pass along what they said. The UFC viewers are mostly male under 54. Politically speaking, Trump won the mostly male under 50 age group by only 2 points last election. So if you want to look at it like that, here you got a president that's of a Republican variety that puts on this show. UFC viewers are mostly probably 90% male, and they might think this is, something cool for the Republican Party or President Trump to put on. And it was certainly cool. The backdrop, you see all the fighters after their bout is over, they're taking pictures with the White House in the background. They'll get their family around them, hold their phone up, and they're taking pictures with that in the background. I mean, it was spectacular is the only word I can come up with because it was just great.
You and I couldn't get over the B-2 stealth bombers, everything else, but the fight of the night was the main event. Major upset, Justin Gaethje defeating Topuria in the lightweight championship match. It was phenomenal. I mean, there's no other words for it. back and forth, back and forth. It looked like Gaethje was going to lose. Came back and just they say he's the toughest puncher in all of UFC. I got to believe.
Puncher, yeah.
Yeah,
Did-
I got to believe the way that,
Did you see where they put up the little graphic, the betting thing that was doing the advertising?
yeah,
Some guy put up 150 grand on Gaethje, and if he wins, because it was a plus 350, he
right.
wins 785,000. So, I had that in the back of my mind too as a numbers thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was spectacular fight.
It really was.
American. The American upset the favored guy that was favored by a mile.
It's 6-1 odds. He's the Georgian champion. He had the most knockouts, and also had tied the most knockouts in a row.
Yeah, 7.
Lightweight. And so it was impressive. In fact, they had to throw in the towel at the very end. He was not able to come out for the.
But what his brother say when the fighter himself admitted in the previous round he couldn't see out of his right eye.
Yeah, they kept pushing him. And
his brother said, let him go on until the ring dude said, that's it, boys, we're done.
Yeah, well, it was impressive. Probably never going to see a spectacle like that again. And some people may be happy about that, but
it was the first time ever.
Yeah,
all 7 bouts on the card ended with a knockout or a TKO. First time in the history of the UFC.
Every single person on every single card on the bout. It was crazy. Well, from one sporting spectacle to another, let's head to San Antonio and New York, because the NBA season has wrapped itself up with an instant classic of a series. Regardless of the fact that it was 5-1, this was a phenomenal series. This was absolutely phenomenal.
Comebacks every game.
Big sports story. New York Knicks are NBA champs for the first time since 1973. Beating the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 in Game 5 to close out the series 4-1. And that obviously is one of it was very highly rated as well. People were talking about high ratings, which the NBA going down. Great defense, great shooting. The whole thing was phenomenal. This final deserves its own moment because per NBA.com, it might be the best 5-game series we've ever seen. Every single game was within 5 points in the final 5 minutes. Jalen Brunson dropped 45 points in the closeout game and was named Finals MVP. His first title and the Knicks' first since the Willis Reed and Walt Frazier era. I saw a stat that was pretty impressive. The only other guard to score 45 points away from home was him and another guy named Michael Jordan. I mean, that's pretty great company.
And Jordan's 6'6".
Yeah.
And he's 6'2", maybe.
Yeah.
But the Nova Knicks came through with a spectacular I'm throwing that word around a lot tonight, but they came back from a 29-point deficit and won. They were behind the first quarter every game, except the 5th game. They weren't as far behind as they were the previous 4.
Yeah.
So that was why it was the comeback was so good. Jalen had, like you said, he had 45 points. He scored a layup on Villanova won the title for New York with a little help from UK. That's true.
That's true.
Post that up there. But he just had a spectacular game for a guy 6'2" that everybody jokes he ain't really that tall. He's not that athletic. He's not fast. But, man, the guy can shoot and he can control a game. And I remember some guy predicted this before the playoffs started. Who was that, Kyle?
It was definitely you. I thought you were a nut for thinking that. Although halfway through the NBA playoffs, I thought this team's legit. I don't know how.
And the key word is team.
Listen, for you UK fans out there, this is a prime example of what a great team with a couple of stars, not superstars, a couple of really good players, a couple of stars, but a good team effort. This is what can happen. This is what we should be looking at. Here's the part that's almost hard to believe. ESPN reports that the Spurs led every single first quarter of the series by a combined 57 points. They had a 29-point lead in Game 4, and they still lost the series in 5 games, and they led for 74% of the
Right.
entire minutes of
And
the
had a
entire series.
20-point lead in game 4 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. The Knicks erased double-digit deficits in literally every game of the finals. Victor Wembanyama and the young Spurs head into the offseason as the runner-up. Per Wikipedia's final records, this was their first finals appearance since '99, obviously, which coincidentally was the last time these two franchises met in the championship, which the Spurs won. 27 years later, the tables have turned. The Spurs led every first quarter of the series, as we said. It's an incredible stat. What does that say about the Knicks' mental toughness versus a young Spurs team that
It's
maybe
massive.
hasn't learned how to close yet?
Yeah, I mean, Karl Anthony Towns played. You didn't see him like when he was in, I think it was in Minnesota. He was a three-point shooter. It drove people crazy that a guy 7 foot tall wasn't under the basket. He had double-digit rebounds, I think, every game.
Yeah.
He was guarding a 7'5" guy
Freak.
and only fouled out once, who was getting every whistle there was. Wembanyama was getting every damn whistle there was.
True.
And Karl Anthony Towns, one game, had 2 fouls in a minute and 30 seconds. 90 seconds in the game, he had 2 fouls and did not foul out. But, this game, Wemby was not getting any easy scores if Cat was under the basket. And he earned every one of those 6 fouls. So I thought, he missed the last minute and a half, but it didn't matter. Jalen Brunson, he carried them to victory. He scored like 48% of their total points that game and hit some clutch free throws down at the end. And every player played like a team. If they had a bad game, it's stuff we've talked about with Cam Williams' dad. If you're having a bad game scoring, then go play defense.
Do something else.
And Jalen Brunson's friend, Jason Hart, one game he was like 3 for 12, but he had 15 rebounds and 7 assists.
If you haven't watched those guys, their post-game
they're hilarious.
Done, not just in this series, but throughout the year, that's a vibe you want on your team.
Yeah.
You want guys who are joking with each other, who are joking with the media. They may have a bad game and they come out with their sunglasses on. The other one's picking them up, joking with them and talking about stuff. That's what you want. And that's the thing that I'm gonna. It's gonna be good. It's
one interaction like you're talking about. Jason Hart, Brunson, and the other Villanova player. I can't think of his name, but Jason Hart talked about winning championships and stuff, and he had cut a joke on Brunson. And when he mentioned, we've got 2 championships, Brunson goes, well, we've got 2, you've only got 1.
Right.
He coming, so, and they had fun. And, there was one, I can't remember the guy's name, but they at one time had 4 Villanova players on that team, but they had 3 and 1 UK player, as Alvy said, and they were all 4 of them were key to them winning the championship. 3 of them were starters, and 1 was like the 6th or 7th guy, and they were all. It was a spectacular series. We were texting each other back and forth the whole time. It was hard to beat, and that's true. San Antonio, OKC, and Houston are going to be the 3 teams that are going to be driving the championships for the next 10 years.
Don't count out those Lakers. Don't count out Luka and those Lakers. I'm telling you,
Luka's got nothing. Luka will be gone. Luka will leave as soon as the contract's up.
He could.
And then on our text discussions about these pro athletes and stuff, Jalen Brunson cracked a joke and said, he said, I like to he said when they traded him from Dallas, he said, well, the only thing I liked about that trade was when I get to New York, I don't have Dallas taxes to pay, Texas taxes, because they're so high in New York and they're zero in Texas.
Well, now, unfortunately, the celebration in New York wasn't all positive. According to ABC News, police say at least 4 people were slashed or stabbed during the post-game chaos near Times Square. 5 school buses were set on fire at
1 guy got shot. Does it say that?
And 1 person was shot, and at least 5 NYPD vehicles were vandalized. people jumping on top of them, smashing windshields with bats. On the positive side, ABC News also reports Mayor Zoran Mamdani has already announced a ticker tape parade down the Canyon of Heroes for Thursday.
Yeah.
So the city's got a tough cleanup job and a celebration to plan, both at the same time.
Hey, who carries a bat to a celebration?
Somebody who's not there to celebrate.
And those school buses, you know what they were there for?
For the World Cup.
For the World Cup, to move fans around New York for the World Cup, and these people set them on fire.
Can we talk just? I want to take a side.
Well, sure, it's our show, ain't it?
Yeah. Have you seen the number of foreigners visiting the United States who are visiting places in America? Number one, they can't believe how big everything is, which is hilarious to us. But number two, they're in love with Buc-ee's. They're in love with Waffle
House. There's a guy named Fred.
Yep,
Fred is from England that went to Buc-ee's.
He's from Germany.
Germany, yes, right.
Freddy's from Germany.
And he is amazed at the food availability.
Yeah.
He went to Buc-ee's and shot a video of the 120 gas pumps. We don't think nothing about that.
No.
He goes, my gosh, look at this. And he slowly pans. He goes, it ain't never going to stop until it finally gets down to the end. And then there's others that are doing the same thing. What was it? Waffle House?
Waffle House. They've been to IHOP. They've been
nachos and chips. Not salsa and chips. Just amazed the crap out of them.
Chick-fil-A. They love Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, yeah.
Here's the thing that I am enjoying about this, and I think we'll talk about this one day this week. Maybe show some of the videos that we're talking about for people who aren't seeing it. If you're not seeing it, then clearly you don't have TikTok or YouTube or X. But the thing that I hope people get from this is that it's okay to be American. It's okay to be proud to be an American. We can have political differences, right? We have. I have voted for people who have not received an office, right? And I lived for 4 years afterwards. I didn't like some of the policies, and it was fine. Is why I voted the way that I did. But we as a nation, when one of the things that the other night, Friday night, when the United States played, and Dan and Shay sang the national anthem.
Yep.
I don't. You could see David Beckham looking around at people were singing full-throated to the national anthem. The people outside singing. The people when they saw the flag. It's okay to be patriotic. It's okay to be patriotic and not necessarily like the guy in the White House or your governor or your mayor. You can still love to be American, because if you look at all these people coming from all these other countries and they go, wow, America is so much different than I thought it was. This place is amazing. I saw a guy from South Africa say the other night, he said, I saw a lady walking down the street at night. She had her bag. She had jewelry on. You can't do that in South Africa.
Right.
We can't even drive in the dark because you will get shot and killed. That's what happens. And they're now thinking, I might have to reassess whether I even want to. I may want to live in the United States.
Right.
And what I've said to a couple people on TikTok and otherwise, come on. If you want to ingratiate and you want to assimilate yourself into our society, come on. Come into America, be a productive citizen, and we will gladly bring you into the fold. We are not anti-immigrant. That's
just
not what we are.
Those
who are not here to do the things the right way.
Yeah, we normally let 1 million. We got a cap, I guess, at 1 million or 1.2 million legal immigration coming through Ellis Island or somewhere every year. Not 10 million crossing the border and saying all saying the same thing. They were taught to say, I'm seeking asylum.
Well,
but these people, another that a lot of them make, a lot of the comments I saw, they can't believe the freedom of navigation. They can just hop in a car and go anywhere they want without having to show papers, without being stopped. They can just go and drive. So in between games, they're hopping in cars and just driving all over the place in the area that they're in.
And there's a week between games. So they're say they have a game in like Auburn Stadium, which, by the way, Freddie couldn't get over how big Jordan Hare Stadium was, which to us, Jordan Hare Stadium is not the big house in Michigan.
Go to Tennessee. Go to Tennessee or Michigan. Yeah.
Right? I mean, Jordan-Hare is a little bit bigger than Kentucky, right? I think they're 82,000. We're at 71,000 or something. But they can't get over how big things are. We live in a beautiful country. We are so blessed to have been born in this country and to have the freedoms that other people in the world do not enjoy. They do not, even the Western nations that we look to as our allies, even Canada, right? You do not have the freedoms. You do not have the
Not freedom
ability.
of speech.
You don't have freedom of speech. You don't have the ability to buy a home because of how expensive things are. They say, well, I can get free healthcare. Yeah, and you'll have a broken leg for 7 months. I mean, there are trade-offs to everything. But the American experiment is so amazing that people who come from other great countries come to the United States and realize they have no idea
They have
how
nothing compared to us.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that stuck out with me was the freedom of movement.
Yeah.
That these people, and if you go on YouTube, if you get on there and just look around, there's all kinds of foreigners that make videos of the United States, and they are just amazed just at our food.
Oh,
At the restaurants and the variety of food we got. They go into shopping centers. You'll see people from Africa and India go into a Kroger or an Albert's.
Yeah.
And just see
Freddie's in love with Walmart.
100 feet of just vegetables.
Yeah.
And then another 100 feet of meat. And they said, we don't have nothing like this. We waste food so much compared to, and then take the economics. The poorest American is considered rich in 81% of the countries on the planet.
Well, and
think about that.
And they were talking about we got our bill. We got our lunch bill from IHOP.
Mm-hmm.
It was $30 for the both of us for a full meal. That's great prices for this. So listen, we understand that things are tight and everybody's trying to make economic decisions. You have it so good in the United States. You have it so good in the United States right now. And people don't realize how good we have it. I just wish that at this moment right now, we could take some self-reflection as a country and go, we don't even know how good we have it. We have other people from third world nations, even first world nations, who are looking at us going, you all have it so good. Why are you complaining about your country?
I could hop in my car, or me and Teresa could hop in the car. I could have an AR-15 in the back, a 9mm in the glove box, and drive to Florida. And if the cops pull you over, they won't give a crap. They can't walk down the street with a weapon. They can't. If in a lot of countries, the women can't walk down without a male family escort.
Yep.
They don't go at it. Now we've got places in America that, a normal person won't feel safe going out at night, but they got entire countries.
Right.
That once it's dark, they don't go outside.
Well, it is a beautiful thing. Unfortunately, it's taking the eyes of others from around the world to show us how blessed we are.
All you got to do is watch the videos on YouTube from foreigners that are amazed at the United States of America.
They can't get over the hotels. They think just the your Hampton Inns are like 5-star hotels to them.
Right.
They can't get
over a regular hotel to us.
Yeah, well, congratulations to the Knicks and their fans on a well-earned title. Let's hope that they can keep things together up there. I don't have a ton of hope, but we will see. But let's bring it home here literally with some news from Big Blue Nation. You ready?
Yep.
All right.
Bring it.
Okay, let's go.
Let's close tonight with some hometown big news for Big Blue Nation. The University of Kentucky has officially hired Jay Batt as its new athletics director and CEO of Champions Blue, replacing the legendary Mitch Barnhart, who is retiring.
Who lives in Franklin County
At the end of June after nearly 24 years on the job. UK announced it earlier today with a press conference. Let's talk about who this guy is because his resume is truly loaded. It's not who we thought it was going to be. We thought it might be Jeremiah Dickey. Jay Batt's name came out really in the last week and a half.
Is Jay? Is he go by an initial?
He goes by an initial, J Bat.
Okay.
So, according to ESPN, Bat is a North Carolina grad. Boo.
Yeah.
Was actually on a national championship soccer team there. His administrative career took him through William and Mary, James Madison. We have some players. We have a player from James Madison.
We play them this year. It was just announced
Yep.
today.
Maryland and East Carolina before he landed
Get that.
at Alabama, where he spent 6 years as executive deputy athletic director under Greg Byrne, who, interesting wrinkle, used to work at Kentucky under Barnhart. Kentucky basketball here and what this may mean for us. By the way, Jay Bat spent 1 year at Michigan State. That's where he's coming from, is Michigan State. This will be an interesting decision for the Wildcat basketball program.
Yep.
It's building real momentum as a UK homer as we are. What do you want to hear from Bat specifically about supporting and resourcing the basketball program moving forward, Craig?
Hopefully it's business first, because we don't need the day of the traditional athletic director is over. Yep. We need more of a CEO executive type guy, because we're not just talking basketball and football. We're talking baseball, tennis, track, swimming, everything. We got a lot of Olympic athletes that come out of the University of Kentucky.
And you have to be a business savant. I mean, you have to be able to bring in donors. You have to have an excitement. By the way, I just want to say our photo up front we had as a placeholder. I did him no service in what I made him look like on our thumbnail.
Yeah.
This is Jay Bat, and
that's
what
really him. Yeah, and
is he Will Stein's older brother? I mean,
he looks like him, doesn't he?
These two guys look like
perfect hair, perfect teeth.
Yeah.
His eyes are spaced perfectly, and they're blue. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to be he's going to earn every dollar he's got.
Oh yeah.
If we become successful, because we got two good coaches, we've got a great sports year coming up at UK next year, and he's going to have to manage contracts. He's going to have to manage whatever the NIL. I think there's an NIL budget number now.
Yep.
You can't just one university spend $100 million and another's only can spend $1 million, right?
Next year is
what is it, $20 million or something like that?
It's going to be per program. So football, then basketball, then all.
But I mean, they'll have a set number for each one that you can't go over, right?
Right.
Yeah. So he's going to have to know how to manage that. He's going to have to be involved in everything.
Yeah. From Alabama, he went to Georgia Tech as athletic director in 2022, and you're going to love this, where he helped break the school's all-time fundraising record by more than 40%.
That's great.
1 year. And he's the guy who hired head coach Brent Key there. Then just last year in 2025, Michigan State hired him away to be their AD. And now, after barely 13 months in East Lansing, sorry, Sparty, I got some family there if you guys are watching. Sorry, although some are saying that they're okay with him leaving. He said to Lexington, the Decatur Daily reports he'll owe Michigan State a buyout, which means that once again, Kentucky will probably be paying part of that buyout, reportedly around $2.5 million, though that number got cut in half after MSU's president left for Clemson last month. Michigan State's going through something right now, and everybody's kind of jumping ship. It makes me think that you may see some retirements from and others too.
Right, and with all the stuff going on there, and they're a national program,
right,
in football and especially basketball.
Right,
something's going on. Something's in the water up there.
This is their fourth athletic director since 2021.
So of course, the big question that usually happens, certainly happens in the professional world.
Yeah.
But will Jay Bat, will he keep Pope?
Well,
or will he not keep Pope? Depending on what kind of year we have this year.
I think it will be, and this is from David Cobb out of CBS Sports. His reputation is an elite fundraiser, which is great in this day and era. But it also reports his track record on big name coaching hires is relatively thin. Brent Key at Georgia Tech being the main example. Mm-hmm. That was a promotion of an existing interim coach, not an outside hire. Mark Pope and Will Stein are already in place here. So what's the actual urgency for Bat to make a splash early on? Probably none. However, he also has a bit of a reputation as a quick trigger when it comes to bad things happening. You're absolutely right. They absolutely are, whether deserved or not. They 100% are, Alvy. At his introduction, per Nation of Blue, Bat said, and I'm quoting here, "The championship standard has been established at Kentucky, and we are committed to upholding that standard of excellence. Our continued success will take everyone in the Big Blue Nation working together to provide resources to our teams and our student athletes." And in a video message carried by WKAR, he said, quote, "Big Blue Nation, I'm Jay Batt, and I couldn't be more excited to join you as the new CEO of Champions Blue and Director of Athletics at the University of Kentucky." He also introduced his wife, Leah, and their sons, Fitz and Graham. UK President Eli Capilouto, in comments reported by ESPN and Nation of Blue, praised him as, quote, "a record breaker in fundraising and a leader who strategically invests in facilities to maximize resources and revenue," and said Bat stays focused on student athletes competing at the highest level while preparing for life after sports.
Well, can you tell us what Champions Blue is?
Yeah, so Champions Blue is now the NIL. It is now the NIL directive and fundraising arm, as well as the analytics arm for the entire
Analytics,
university.
right?
Yeah, all of their
Where
analytics.
does JMI fall into this?
The JMI would be an outside partner that assists them, and they have a contract with JMI that helps. And he'll obviously have a seat on that as well. But they work hand in hand. So, JMI is going out and getting the deals for everyone, but
Merchandising deals, right? The
yeah,
TV commercials that
yeah,
you see the players on.
right. But at the same time, Champions Blue is the one who's going to manage the funds that will go into that as well, in and out. Wildcat Blue Nation framed this hiring as Kentucky replacing Barnhart with, quote, "his opposite in the best possible way. Fresh, fundraising focused, up to date on the NIL and revenue sharing
Because
area."
the whole scene's changed.
Yeah, 100%. After 24 years of Barnhart, is this exactly the jolt UK athletic needs, or is this a risk in hiring someone who's now leaving his fourth job in roughly 6 years, Craig?
Well, Barnhart, when people say stuff about him, I don't understand it. He's got NCAA champions in basketball. He's got the baseball team's gone to the World Series, college.
Yep.
The football team was on a record bowl streak, longer than the history of UK. He's got Olympian track and field athletes that were in the Olympics. He's got the girls softball team has gone to the girls World Series, I believe. And so his track record is going to be hard to match, much less beat. Now, but the whole college world has changed now because of NIL. So you got a younger guy that might understand this. You got a basketball coach that's totally into analytics and a Rhodes Scholar. And then you have a football coach that is one of the most exciting football coaches in the country. So it's going to be a great year, and hopefully old Jay Batt can manage these personalities and manage these teams to where UK is back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, with Champions Blue and the way that it's set up for revenue streams to come in, it's its own entity. I mean, it is not the University of Kentucky. It is its own LLC. It's a holding company similar to how, I don't know, a hospital system may consider themselves.
Is it tied to UK though?
It is. It has a governance board composed of UK officials and outside expertise from businesses where JMI will be involved and things of that nature as well.
Yeah. Well,
it is focused on money and revenue, so that the football team and the basketball team and those areas are not the football team and the basketball team aren't focusing on trying to find money, right? I mean,
yeah.
This is how it's going to have to work.
Yeah. And doesn't, I didn't read this today, but I remember it in my head. Doesn't this also involve when the players go visit people in hospitals or schools? Isn't that part of what Champions Blue is?
It obviously there's going to be an outreach arm of it as well that's going to require the activity of the student athletes and the coaches as well. So I think that's something that different roles will be figured out and things of that nature. It's a whole new concept. I mean, UK is a leader in this, but this is going to be a big deal to get things off the ground and also bring somebody in that has fundraising experience.
Now, if there's a disaster in Kentucky, I'm asking this, will Champions Blue, will they do like what Calipari did and raise $1 million in one day for flood victims or tornado victims?
Very
Will
likely.
Champions Blue be involved in that?
Yes.
Where the coach doesn't have to do that?
Yes. I mean, he would be the spokesperson for it, but he wouldn't be the one that would have to handle
like what Calipari did, get on the phone and start calling everybody.
Yeah. I mean, he may get on the phone and do it, but he's not going to be responsible trying to figure out who I call next and everything else.
Yeah.
Here's something from his past press conference that I think matters a lot for us going forward. Per On3 at Michigan State, Bat said, "Football has to be the priority for any major athletic department to succeed." His words were that it's imperative to support all sports, but, quote, "every athletics department competing at the highest level must be successful in football." That's a notable philosophy for him to bring to a basketball school.
I don't know what I agree. Well, yeah, some other schools, that's obviously the money driver.
Right.
But UK is one of the few universities in America that football supports itself and basketball supports itself, and the other Title IX programs and all the other sports that does not require university money. So I don't know if he's going to focus more on football than basketball, but he doesn't have to worry about that here because we travel better than anybody.
Yeah, there is a passionate fan base, however, of football, and we're part of that too. That
starving. We're starving.
They want it so bad they can stand it, and you and I know that over the last 15 years, there have been some really fun times with football.
Oh yeah,
but the last few years so we know what it can be like here. We know how fun those can be. I was in school in the mid to late 90s, and you could sit anywhere you wanted to for a lot of
you could pick this when I used to go. You could pick up tickets literally off the sidewalk.
Yes, 100%.
We already had tickets, but we would walk by them and notice those are today's game tickets because the people couldn't. They were trying to give them away at the entrance.
Yeah,
you remember that? They would say, "Hey, we've got a couple extra tickets. We can't sell them. You want them?" Kind of deal.
I remember a game, I think it was 96, where we played Cincinnati, and it was colder than I've ever been in my entire life. We were at home, and it hurt to be outside.
Yeah.
There weren't 1,000 people in the entire stands. Everyone there was either related to him or worked for the athletic department.
Yeah, understand that. But if it's 50 degrees or 45 degrees, and you can pick tickets up off the sidewalk, those were down days for UK.
Yeah. With Kentucky being the crown jewel in football historically, as an afterthought, how do you think Big Blue Nation reacts to the kind of philosophy, though, that a guy says that football has to be tops?
I think they should be excited.
I think they should too, because I don't think he's going to think basketball is going to go anywhere either. Because there's a lot of money.
We've got an exciting coach that's got a proven, exciting offense. He's brought in some really good players, as we've noted. 4 and 5 star guys that we beat Ohio State out of, we beat Florida out of, we beat other SEC schools out of. So, the cut of the action that we get from the other SEC bowl games and stuff and the guaranteed TV money, that's there.
Yeah.
But now we got to put a winning product on the field, not just ride the coattails of the top half of the SEC.
And I don't think you're absolutely right, Alvy. Tim Couch and Hal Mumme, those were some fun years.
And I've said it before, hadn't I, Kyle?
You have.
Hal Mumme, I loved his offense. And Tim Couch and Craig East and those guys, they were perfect.
Yeah.
For Hal Mumme's offense.
Mike Leach was the offensive coordinator back then, and rest in peace, Mike Leach, one of the great football interviews ever. He always did great post game and everything interviews.
Yeah.
But those are fun times. I think we are headed in that direction again. But I'll tell you, we talk about the fact that we have great players coming in and we have a great new young coach. But 3 or 4 wins ain't going to do it.
No.
Even in the SEC, ain't going to do it.
Predicted 6-6.
Yeah.
The SEC is so tough.
So good.
It is so good. It's going to take us a couple years. What I want to see more than wins is losses this year, and we've talked about it before, I don't care about wins and losses this year. I want to see an exciting product on the
I
field.
agree.
I want to see 80% passes. I want to see some 70-yard runs on a 5-yard pass, that kind of stuff. And once you get that, then you can start bringing the better players in that might not want to go to Ohio State and sit on the bench for 3 years and hope they get, or Alabama, sit on the bench for 3 years and hope you get to play your senior year and then go in the NFL. That can't be no fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be the '90s. It's gonna be the '97 football team where you had a young Tim Couch, and they only were 4-7 or whatever that year. But it was exciting, and they put a bunch of points on the board and everything. But into this year and next year, gonna be a lot of pressure on these guys. So we'll have to we'll be tracking J Bat's first moves at UK closely.
UK basketball announcement.
Yeah, I'm hearing.
I don't know if you've seen it today. It was just released right before we went on there. New additional teams for the pre-SEC schedule. On November 3rd, we got Manhattan, which we played before. James Madison, we mentioned just a minute ago. Northern Arizona, which I didn't even heard of them before. Grambling State, an HBCU.
Yep.
Bryant, not a clue. Sacred Heart, not a clue. And Gardner Webb, which I think Gardner Webb beat us with Billy Clyde, yeah. BCG, I think they beat us back in the day. So those are some of the lesser games, along with, my game of the year preseason is Kansas in Chicago, and then North Carolina and Louisville. So it's a good mix. They'll have some off days. I wish they would schedule Eastern, Western, Moorhead, those kind of teams in Kentucky, so that the money that they pay to Grambling or Sacred Heart or somebody goes to our Kentucky schools. Cal was good about that, even playing Kentucky State University a couple times.
Well, in Transylvania and some other schools, and Bellarmine, shout out to the Bellarmine Knights. But I'll also say this: people are gonna say, "Well, this is a bunch of cupcakes they're adding." You're right. You in this day and age, when you're playing North Carolina and Kansas and Louisville, you need some cupcakes in there.
I got to look these guys up because I've not heard of Bryant. Sacred Heart's a high school in Louisville.
Yeah, it's not the same.
I know Gardner Webb. I know James Madison. And I know Grambling State. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I am interested to see how this fits into the rest of the schedule once it all comes out. But it should be a fun show. All right, at least for
when we start diving into that.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do that. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight.
Hold on. We got the Mitch McConnell thing.
Oh, yeah.
Let me find the question. But let's see. Where he was wanting to know if Mitch would retire. He's not going to retire. Here it is right here. If Mitch McConnell in the hospital, will someone be appointed to replace him? We think absolutely not. He will not retire.
No,
because we've got a Democrat governor. The Democrat governor will appoint a Democrat U.S. senator. No matter how much Mitch McConnell doesn't like Trump, has voted against the Save America Act and several other things, which I don't even understand. I think he's getting Joe Biden. I think he's got people on his staff that are telling him to vote one particular way or another, but he's not going to step down. What do you think, Kyle?
Absolutely not. There's no way he would. I will tell you that in Kentucky, the only role that the governor has now is that he can announce that there'll be an open election, and he can set the date for that election. The 17th Amendment specifically allows for governors to set essentially somebody to fill the role. I will tell you,
they can even appoint themselves.
Yeah, well, that is what's going to happen. I'm just going to tell you right now, and this could be very, very bad for Republicans and conservatives in Kentucky if Mitch McConnell dies. Listen to what I'm saying. If he dies, it is possible that the governor could announce when the election would be. That there is a 2024 law on the books that essentially says that the Senate and the state Senate and the House could essentially give a list to the governor, and then the governor could
three from each group. Yeah,
he ain't listen. He ain't gonna. All right.
Yeah.
He's gonna appoint himself because he's running for president. He is going to do that. Jacqueline Coleman will then take over as the governor, and
Right.
she will be running for governor as the incumbent governor of Kentucky, which is no bueno because it's going to give her a year of time that people will get to know her, and
A year of free media.
yeah, she'll be doing the fireside chats just like during COVID. If Mitch McConnell dies, and here's what's going to happen.
This is not.
No.
He doesn't even have. It's not even said that he's got the flu. It's something.
So let's.
There's no chance of that. Yeah.
We don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but I will tell you there will be a legal fight 5 miles down the road in downtown Frankfurt, in front of Judge Wingate
Or
Shepard, and they will be determining the validity of the 2024 law, and they will be determining the validity of the 17th Amendment to determine, temporary who's going to fill this. There has to be an election, though, and I can tell you right now that from a timing perspective, it would not be good because then, he could essentially have a special election where he can appoint himself temporarily and then be the Democrat nominee for Senate, for that same role. And he's tough to beat. And then all of a sudden he's rolling into the presidential election as well.
Yeah, it would be the number one Senate race in the country. If McConnell got so ill that he had to step down, Andy Beshear appointed himself to replace him until the next election. I guarantee you that will be the hottest election in the entire country to have a Democrat try to take McConnell's seat in the second or third most red state in the country behind Oklahoma and Wyoming.
Yeah, it's just it is not something that the folks of, even if you're a Democrat, it's going to be a mess. And I don't think that's what anybody necessarily wants to see happen. Again, there's no indication that he's, near dying or anything like that. Let's
none.
Yeah. So
we were just answering a question but in the end, Kentucky's going to elect a Republican to replace McConnell. It's probably about 10 or 12 points. It won't even be close. Yeah. Andy Barr probably.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. We're only 6 months away, so it doesn't make a hill of beans difference on there, but it would give him the ability to appoint himself for those 6 months and give Jacqueline Coleman a year.
Well, and then he would be on a national stage then.
He doesn't need the extra time. He'll get that for the 6 months if that were to happen. So
right, yeah. If he was our U.S. senator,
right,
he would be all over TV.
Right, but McConnell's term ends in January. So
right,
that November election is going to decide that anyway. He's and he's not the nominee for it. It's Charles Booker. So
yeah.
That's the reality.
Andy Barr and Booker. That'll be it ain't gonna be interesting because it's not gonna be close.
It's gonna be 15.
It'll probably be 118-2 on a county vote.
Probably.
He'll win Lexington, Louisville, and maybe Franklin County.
Maybe they voted for Barr twice.
Yeah, and then he'll win the other 118 counties.
Yeah. Well, we do hope he gets better. But
definitely.
We'll obviously keep you all posted if anything happens. That's going to be our show for tonight. To recap, the U.S.-Iranian peace deal heading towards a Friday signing. Governor Newsom's claim about the DOJ targeting his family. The spectacle at the White House for UFC Freedom 250. The Knicks' first title in 53 years. And the fallout in New York. And the new athletic director here at home in Lexington. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the podcast. Click that notification bell so that you can be notified each time we're about to go live. And make sure that you check back with us every weekday at 5 p.m. for more honest conversations with just the facts. Until next time, Craig, make sure that you stay informed, stay sharp, stay above the noise. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.